Oh, hello. Hi, Maddie. How you doing? Good morning. Thank you so much for being here and for the thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. I've been working on this. The parts that I still, I plan, I think, to do like a wooden frame around this and fix up some of the colors, but I really need to paint. Hi. Hello. Nice to see you. Edible necklace. What would you like me to call you? Would you like me to call you edible necklace? And then, so I'll be working on some of the skeleton today. Technically, this is not a tutorial, though once I'm done with it and I have a good sense of how I put it together, I can make it into a tutorial for sure. This I did with no preparation at all other than a sketch. So I didn't have my colors picked out. I didn't have my light sources yet figured all out. So this has been definitely like a work in progress in real time. Okay, is it, tell me, I'm going to say it once and then you can tell me if I've mispronounced it. Is it Tirana? Is it Tirana? And if not, then I'm going to go for Tirana. But let's start with Tirana. Is that the right way to say it? I'm so sorry if I've butchered your name. And hello, good morning, Alicia. Hi, everybody. Really appreciate you guys hanging out here with me today. I have some references. I have the website that I got them from, as well as the artist or the photographer. So that when I post this, I will put the link specific. Okay, Tirana, perfect. Thank you. So I will post the reference so that way people can go support the artist as well as easily access their work. So, all right, let's see. I don't know if you guys do this, but I definitely, like, when I feel intimidated by a certain part of my project, I'll avoid with like until the very end. So I've been avoiding this part of the skeleton. So this was the sketch that we started with. Thank you so much. I still need to draw in this book, so I'll do that first because, anything I can do to prevent myself from actually tackling the problem, right? I promise that's not typically my personality, but I do that with my artwork a lot. I mean, I think we all procrastinate or put off certain things, I think that's just human nature. Whatever we find painful, we'll avoid. And I'll be honest, I find the unknown painful. Let's see. Can't remember which. I think I was using, okay, it was a copy of my palette. I just had to figure out which one's which. Oh, this was the one that I amended. Okay. I do that all the time, right? The 3 pumpkin on top was so good. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad that was helpful to you. I had a lot of fun painting that one. I love giving like, what should be an inanimate object, like a personality. It's so fun. So coming up with like the expressions on the pumpkins is great. If you guys don't know what we're talking about this. This is a tutorial right now. So if you're interested, you can go check that out. But yeah, this was fun. I also, depending on how far I get into this and if I need a break, I might also show how to do a brief tutorial on creating a seamless pattern like this. But if not, I'll turn that into a separate tutorial for during the week. Now I gotta figure out what color I want this book. Do I want it like orangey brown? Maybe I don't know that I want to pull in this color anymore. Do I make it like a teal? This is why we plan ahead, so you don't get paralysis. Let's see. The good news is I can always change it. That's the good news. So I'm going to start with a really dark teal, and I can always change it later. I also want to make sure that it's beneath the skeleton because the book will be behind the fingers, the phalanges. And if you guys have any questions, any requests, feel free to put them in. I may not get to the request, but I try my best when I see something that I feel is within my like wheelhouse of strength, I will do it. And if not, I'll just be honest and say I don't know that I don't know if I'm your person for this. Okay, so one of the things that I would have to do, I'm going to take the highlights out for now just so I can really see what's going on. But the reason why it's like that is because I made the highlights for this back here, the cauldron. So I will have to erase what I'm not using, but I'll worry about that later. Also, if you can hear screaming in the background, that's my children playing. Everybody's safe and okay. They just, sometimes when they scream, it's hard to tell if they're distressed or they're just having a lot of fun. You know, maybe. It's really none of your business what I'm wearing, but thanks for asking. I love doing scarf tutorials so much. Awesome. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that. Oh, thank you. You know, I love requests because what it does is it really challenges me to sit there and go, can I do this? So I've never done a chunky knit sweater before or chunky knit scarf. And I was like, I mean, I bet I could. I just need to sit down and think about how I would execute it. So someone had made it as a suggestion. I can't remember. Was that you, Tarana? I apologize if I can't remember. I'm still, there's, you know, I'm getting used to like my new community. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, once I sat down and did it, I was like, okay, this is possible. This is possible. I mean, I think it's always possible. It's just a matter of like, do I feel like I can actually achieve it well enough to say, yeah, here's how you do it. Okay, so then my only other thing, I will put this, do I want the book in front? I kind of like the leaves in front of the book. I mean, obviously you wouldn't see that part. You would see the white pages here. Oh my goodness. It wasn't you. Okay. Oh goodness. Trolls are trolling this morning. Do, 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 do. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, and now I'll pick something more like a taupey beige orange color. No, that's not its official name. I may adjust it, but that's just what I'm going to start with as like a base color. And now I'll go like this. And I will move those leaves back up in front because I preferred it that way. Hi everybody, good morning. If you are new here, my name is Bree. Appreciate you spending time with me this Saturday morning, or maybe it's afternoon, depending on where you are. And let's see, I'm a digital artist, have been for, I finally counted, 15 years now. I love teaching, sharing, collaborating with people. I think we all need one another to improve, grow. So appreciate you guys coming to hang out. And if you haven't subscribed or liked this video, that would be awesome. Okay, so the book is coming along. And I'll put some like yellow glow from the candlelight, and then I'll be able to get some like purple orange glow over here on the pages. And then obviously we will get the shading of the arm and the skeleton's rib cage corrected as well. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time getting this just rendered a little bit more. Not a ton, just a little. Hi, hello, welcome, welcome. How are you this morning? Has or does anyone struggle with getting started on projects? I sometimes find myself, I think about the end project and I get excited about what I want it to look like, but then I can get really overwhelmed by like all the steps, and then I get like sort of a paralysis going, and then I can think about the project but never start the project. Okay, so now we'll grab this color. And I like the way this looks, so instead of painting directly on it, I'm going to add a layer on top and make it clipping masks, just so that way if I end up hating the changes I make, I can just delete them, start fresh. You're at work. Hi. Well, thanks for joining us on this lovely Saturday. Hello. Okay, just drawing some lines here to suggest paper. Oh, my children. Oh, sorry. And I'm going to also under here create one more. I might do just a little bit darker on this side, because technically it would be darker. Oh gosh, okay. Yes, the white page, the blank canvas, that can be really overwhelming. Do you mind if I share some things that I did that helped me work on that? Because that used to literally just cripple me. Especially like when I'm doing traditional work, that's when I feel it a lot, because it, you know, it's a lot of pressure to like get out all the supplies and get all set up. And then by the time I start, I'm looking at this white canvas or this white paper, and I'm just like, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to fill. That's a lot to do. All right, let's, try that. Maybe a little bit darker. Whew, my children are squealing today. Oh, daddy's telling them to stop it. Okay, there we go. Sure, okay, so I'll even show you. So a couple things that I do. So if I'm working on paper, this is like a 4x6. No joke, I will cut this in half and then I'll just quarter it. I'll quarter the whole thing. And I will work on just a small piece like this. I have cut them just in half and worked on this size as well. But when I practice a piece, like if I have something in mind and I do it small and see how I can more easily fill up the whole space, it gives me confidence to then try it on a size like this and then try it on an even larger size. So if you actually go back to some of my older like short videos, you'll see that a lot of my watercolor and some of my gouache stuff is on like much smaller paper. And that's literally because that's the only way that I could get started on a project. So if it started small and I liked the way that it was, then it gave me the boost and the confidence to be able to say, you know what, I know I can fill up an actual page, because I did do it just teeny tiny. So that actually really helped. I saw a couple artists on, I think it was TikTok, doing that, and I was like, I wonder why they're using small paper, but I'll give it a try. And then I just tried it. I tried doing small paper because I also wanted to save money. And then I was like, you know what? I'm actually successfully doing this. So, and you know what? Let's see. Those wheels are so loud. I have examples real quick that I can show you before I jump back into this painting. But working on little ones like this, you can see it's little. This is like a, I think I have the 11-inch iPad. So this is quite tiny. So it allowed me to be able to do both sides and practice. And I could fill up the space and just practice and see how I wanted something to come together. Let's see. Things like this, just little practices that allowed me to play with the paint and sort of decide where I wanted to go. Stuff like this, or like this. This has like I'm trying to think, what is this called? I can't think right now, but the metallic-y shiny stuff. Stuff like this. Even landscapes. I was able to do like small landscapes, right? And then from there I can, make larger pieces. I'm trying to find some of my more, like, I really wanted to learn and practice how to make a forest, so I just did a really small one. Started small, worked my way up. I have some gouache ones here too. Here's me practicing grass. Really tiny, right? I mean, this is my thumb. Pretty tiny. Oh, thank you. I really wish, I'll just grab it. I can't think of the name right now. I just got these on Amazon, and there's a third color. It's a copper color, and I throw these on some of my paintings every once in a while. Makes it fun. I think too, when I use the small ones like this, it allows me to play around and not be afraid of wasting paint or paper. I don't know if that's anyone else's issue, but it is mine. So, being able to practice, the different paint techniques, drawing, unusual color combinations that I normally wouldn't go for. This one was fun. Almost done. Even, something like this, small, because I wanted to make it bigger. So I was like, okay, let's see what I can do with a small shape. This one's gouache on black paper. So, and just practicing a waterfall setting. Isn't the robin cute? I didn't know I liked painting birds until I did it, and I was like, oh my god, I love birds. They're so cute. So yeah, those are just different ways that I was able to build up my confidence, because I felt like literally I was able to do a small painting a day, right? I was able to say, okay, you might not be able to do a huge project, but you can definitely work on a 2 by 3 inch piece of paper, and you can make something today that will increase your skills. Whether it's your understanding of the brushes you have, whether it's the understanding of the colors mixing and drawing, whether it's trying out unusual color combinations. Like, I just told myself, like, you can do a small painting a day, and I could. And I did that for probably about 2 months, and it really helped get me in the groove of painting, as well as just trusting my abilities to make stuff. Sorry, I'm very passionate about the struggles of, getting past the I would say like imposter syndrome mixed with, you know, just the paralysis of being overwhelmed with a project and just being like, ugh. I get easily, you know, bogged down by all of the steps in between, and maybe it's executive dysfunction, but yeah, you know, I think I just had to be willing to get creative and accept that my process might be just different than others. Awesome. Yes, you're very, very welcome. Once I allowed myself to just not do things in a way that I thought they were supposed to be, painting and stuff got a lot easier. Doesn't mean I don't struggle. I still do. I have to convince myself to go live, even though I love being live and talking to people. I still get anxious. I'm like, you know, I can talk myself out of it, but what if you can't pull off the painting? What if you know, say something stupid? Like, you know, I can definitely easily talk myself out of it. So I try really hard to just hold myself accountable and go, you need to do this. This is part of it. All right, let's try another clipping mask. I'm going to attempt to just add in a little bit lighter color before I do actual highlights. Let's see what kind of, I'm gonna see if Terralia works as a texture for this book. Don't worry, I'll get rid of that, but yeah, I think, because I want it to look worn, but I don't want it to be overbearing either. I can probably just lighten it up a touch. There we go. All right. We're gonna put on the highlight layer again, and now we can go in and erase what is not needed in this particular area, which will be this. Okay, so now we have our highlights back. Oh, thank you. You know, thankfully it doesn't take much to make something, you know, pop. I keep still to this day learning, like, trust the process. You'd be surprised how much can change in just a matter of moments. So, all right, I'm gonna use this yellowish light to hopefully just get a little bit of highlight on some of this book. Not too much. And then I would also, I'm not doing it yet, but I will also be adding like highlights to the fingers and also along the bones, but we'll get there. Oh. I'm going to try, no, I'll keep yellow on this side, yellow. And then I will do purples and oranges over here for the, and I might change that, but that's just what I think would work best right now. The Shadow of Chef's Kiss. Yeah. It's funny how those, just again, those little details can really make all the difference, huh? All right, I'm just gonna leave this. I think I will erase just a little bit here. And I'm gonna do like purple over here. Let's see, maybe a little bit darker. And I'll grab some orange. And I'll probably work some of it right here just because there is like an orange backlighting glow. So I want it to mix in with the purple. There'd also probably be some catching on the back side of this book, so I want to make sure I'm getting that. Will also just in general help the book stand out from the background. So there might be some like pushing of light that really isn't in existence, but is still just believable enough to pass. So for example, this is not passable, but I think this is. So I just need to go in with my eraser, just lighten this part up a little bit. And I think that works better. It'll also probably look more believable once I start painting in the details on the phalanges. Them fingers. And then I also want to make sure that I am highlighting the page. So I'm gonna have to hand paint in, because just painting on top of this is just gonna make it more like a yellowish orange, which is very hard to register. So what I'm going to do first is do the highlight up here. Okay. And maybe do just a little bit more on the yellowish side here. Okay. And then to have something pick up there, I'm going to go on a layer right above this and hand paint in basically this color right here. And I can work on making it brighter. I also don't want it to overlap right there and lighten it up too much, so I just want to be careful. Okay, and if I wanted, I could do some sort of like, let's go like this. So I could do something like this. I could try something, now I don't think this one is particularly gonna work, but for this effect back here, it's actually the elements, it's snow. But you could use something like the glimmer and do something like that, but I would also make sure that it's on the add blending mode for something like that. I might also choose to do a different color and make it smaller, something like that. Now, I'm gonna see what it looks like with elements first with the snow, because I just like the snow effect a little bit better for this particular piece. I used the glimmer in one of my other pieces, but for this one, I feel like the style does well with this. So there's that. Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. You know, isn't it neat that you can really make this effect so easily with just making sure you have on the add blend mode, and then just picking, you know, the right kind of element, whether it's the snow or whether it's a light source. When I did this one I used the luminance, the glimmer luminance, because it was kind of like fairy tale-ish. I don't know if these are like fairies like Zelda, or if they're you know, like fireflies, but I just felt like those made sense for this piece. And I just don't feel like I was able to use some of the snow here in terms of the like portal area, but outside of that, I really felt like it did well with these like little, I don't know, firefly type lights. So I think you just have to figure out like what your, I can't think, what your preference is, depending on what you're using these things for. I could push and try and also put some, not of that, of the snow over here. I'll decide that at the end, because I don't want to overdo it, you know, but this, you could get away with putting some like that here too, but we'll see. Oh, thank you. I'm still very proud of that one. That's probably one of the most intricate paintings I've ever done in terms of like a tutorial. And it was it taught me a lot about like, okay, so if I'm gonna do a piece like this, I need to expect that it's gonna take like 2 or 3 days of editing, and that I need to set aside like 3 hours for being able to like paint it. And then that would be, you know, that's one day, and the next day, like, expect if it's like 3 hours of a painting, imagine it's gonna take me, you know, between 3 and 6 hours to edit it. So, and then I still have to go do a voiceover on top of that. And that in itself, right? So I think I was able to whittle that one down to like an hour and 40-ish minutes. So then I still have to do the voiceover, and I wish I could perfectly do a voiceover exactly right without any hiccups, but that's typically not the case. So at least add an additional half an hour to that voiceover. So I loved doing it, and something like this I also think would be a great tutorial, but I just have to mentally prepare myself that it's going to be like a week's worth of work, which is fine. But in my head I was like, wow, how is this taking so long? Well, it's a big project. That's why. So I'm going to put on Alpha Lock so that I can start shading in here a little bit more intentionally. And I also, oh, not with that though. I'm going to go back to airbrush, use the hard airbrush to just start getting some of the shading in. And don't worry, we will soften up these lines, add color, but we also want to make sure that we're just getting in just a little bit of details. And like I said, I have some reference here. So here's some photo references, especially for when I go to do right in here. I want to make sure that I get it, you know, somewhat atomically correct. Doesn't have to be perfect because it is a stylized like caricature type, but I still want there to be some elements of realism to it. Let's see. And this one I think will be the easiest reference for me, because this angle is just not quite right, but this angle makes more sense for my piece because he's sort of leaning backwards. This one's a little bit more leaning forward. So what I realized for this piece is this spine is actually going to be a part of the back, and then I'm going to paint on top of it to create the like sternum. I don't know what else to call this, but like the sternum essentially. It's been a very long time since I've taken anatomy, so I apologize. I'm a little rusty. And then I know that I have some colors painted in here. Those are easy to erase and come back to. Unless you directly painted it on it, then that might be a little harder, but I'm not worried about it. No point being worried, so I can just take an eraser and get rid of anything I don't want in here. And the only reason why I don't want this in here is I just want to make sure that I'm adding some of the additional, like, is it cartilage? Look at me trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to add a layer behind it so that I can see how it looks. And I guess this would be more like that. Yeah, I think that is nice. I think that's like a added point of realism. It does not have to be perfect. It just needs to be readable enough that the viewer like understands what it's meant to be. And then I can add the details to it in a moment, but I want to make sure that I'm continuing to work out how I want this to look. So let's go like this. And if I'm looking at my reference up here, I want there to be, right, a delineation from here to the back. So I think I'm going to add one on top here that sort of helps take it away from this back spine. And then I'll just connect these in a way, hopefully, that's a little bit more believable and readable. And I also want to make sure that I'm creating a similar effect here. And I'm not going for perfectly atomically correct, but I want it to have some believability. Enough that at first glance you go, oh yeah, that's right. And upon further inspection you go, All right, so there's like this here and like this here. Okay. So then I'm going to combine all these because I'm happy enough with the way that it's looking. I am going to add a new layer though for this part, and I'm going to pick like a lighter so that I can connect these. But still keep the back portion. There we go. And then I can even do some darker lines in the back to show the back part of the rib cage. I don't think that's as necessary, but, and I don't know if it would read, but we'll try it, see what happens. And then I just want to start to color in some of the shadows. Alright, so there definitely would be, let's see, we'll go like this. I think it's starting to look better. Paint behind it. I'll choose this dark color. and I'll have it kind of go like this. And then I will also have this go here and then here. And I'm just sort of making up these lines back here, but I don't think it really will matter for the overall piece. Okay. So now, before I combine these layers, I'm going to just go in and real quick clean up some of these so that when I go to paint the rest of it, it's a little easier. Okay, I think that's probably good enough. That gets the job done. Round that out a little bit. Okay. Oh, yay. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, so now I can combine them. And something I want to note on this one is this like line, right? Essentially, where there's like a divot difference between the direction of the rib cage. And so I don't need to make it perfect, but I think I should acknowledge it in this piece. So let's see if I can accomplish that. We'll find out soon. So one, I want to have something kind of like this. I think that also helps with some of the shading as well. So then I'm going to grab this like medium-ish gray. I also probably want just a little bit here so we see just a little bit of shading. I always find one of the most magical things when I like look at other artists' work is how something can look so detailed, but ultimately, like when you zoom in, you're like, that's crap. Like there's lines missing, there's painting outside of right? It's like not perfect. But then when you like zoom out, you're like, oh, look at that come together. And I think that's one of the most fun parts for me is like just realizing that no artist, no matter how amazing good they are, there are, unless they're a hyper-realist artist, a lot of their work looks like this up close. Sorry for the bouncing on the camera. I'm trying not to do that, but it's unfortunately a little difficult. I'm going to... Nope, don't want to do that either. Ignore me. It's because they're not on the same layer. And that will be fixed soon. I just need to block out the colors. I want this to be just a little bit darker right in here. All right. And so for this one, let's grab kind of like a lightish gray, and we're going to use that here, create that line. Also, I'm really sorry I'm so quiet. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, I'm here for it. I'm very focused. Apparently. Okay. Okay, and then I'll do, I'm going to grab a slightly lighter gray, but I don't want it to be white, and use that just to sort of create the suggestion of separation in the spine, but not overdo it because we really don't need those details. Especially because hopefully the focus, like when you go to look, hopefully the focus is more like around this area and maybe here and catch here, but not necessarily here. All right. So now okay. Now, is this accurate or perfect? No, but I do think it reads. I think it helps people understand general anatomy, even if it's an accurate anatomy of the fingers. Okay. I'm going to fix some of the pumpkin as well. I just feel like it has a little bit too many lines in it. I think it needs a little bit more simplistic of a skin surface. But I'll fix that soon. I want to get some of the highlights in there for this part of the piece. So I'm going to go back up to my like highlighting layer, and I'm just going to go ahead and start adding in the highlights. Oh, maybe get a little of the purple back here on these ribs. I don't want to overdo it, just lightly have it in there. And I think orange would go well on this back side, so I'm going to grab the orange for the backlighting here. I might push it a little bit. And then purple, I'm going to make it a little bit more on the pink side. Have it catch on the rib cage here. And then I do have this like orange suggestion, so I'll put some more orange over here. Just a little down here. Okay, so now I'm not sure if it'll read correctly, so I'm going to try the yellow. If it doesn't work well here, then I'll have to find another way to add this color in, but it looks like it's at least picking up because of the the darker background there, because of the book. So maybe have some light catching here. I know that it's sort of difficult to see. It does read in person. It's struggling a little bit to pick up on the screen itself, like on the camera. But it does pick up in real life. Okay. It won't read on here, so I am gonna have to, on a separate layer, grab some yellow and paint that in, have it catch the light, and then also make it a little bit brighter in some parts. Let's see how that reads. It's okay. Okay. So that's fine, we'll just leave it there. I think this would be darker there, so I'm going to go back down here and just color this in a bit darker. Okay. So I'm gonna, oh, sorry, I hit my ring on the middle of the table. I'm gonna take a break from that because I think it's good for my eyes to take a break from a specific area that I'm working on so I can see if there's adjustments that need adjusting later. And I'm gonna see about how I feel making a frame around the circle. Now I just got to decide how I'm gonna do that. Probably there. Let's do nearly black. And I will start with my inking brush. Hi there, by the way, if you're new, welcome. If you could give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. If you feel so inclined to follow, subscribe, that'd be awesome, but no pressure, I get it. I'm hoping that I can like paint in some like grain and hopefully catch some of the lighting. We'll see what happens. I have not painted wood grain in the style that I'm currently doing, so it might take me a little bit to sort of figure out how to achieve the look that I'm thinking of, but that's okay. Just warning you guys, we're on a journey. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. And then for this, I'm just going to soften this up so that it like bleeds behind the flame, but I also don't want it to take away from the flame. So I'm just going to soften up the edges so it looks like the flame is coming out of the frame itself. There we go. Lighten up, please. Maybe I need this to come over here a little bit more. There we go. Minus that part. Just and I'll figure that out. Just yeah, trust the process. Maybe I could do like this color here and then smudge it out. That at least works a little better. I'll figure it out later though. Okay, so we have our base frame down. Oh, thanks, Maddie. And now I'm going to put a clipping mask on top of the frame. So the color that we're currently using is a very like dark brown. I'm going to make this slightly oranger, like a light brownish. I still want it to be pretty dark to start. I want to work on airbrush and in hard airbrush, take down the opacity, and okay. I want there to be like divots, and I will definitely be hand drawing in like wood grain details later, but I want to just get some of this down. And then later, towards the end, I will be going back in so it looks even more realistic to do things like create like little divots here and there where like the wood would not be perfect, but that's like a step that I do towards the end. Right now I'm just focusing on getting the colors where I need them. And then hopefully by the end, we'll be able to also, I'm just trying to help you guys, because like I know sometimes when I watch other artists, I'm like, I don't understand where this project is going. I don't get it, what's happening. I just want to show you guys sort of like an idea of where it's going. So then also we'll be able to put in some highlights that sort of catch in here. So hopefully it'll start to be, you know, feel like the frame itself is not flat, but also more 3D. Be able to have a little bit more purple as well. So, and pinks. Hopefully it would make it feel, again, less flat, more 3D. For now, I'm just going to erase it because I'm not painting this portion. Go back here, back to the star. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to look on my computer real quick for a wood grain reference. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to keep this, but I'm going to go over here and see what sort of design I can come up with as well. Like I said, I've never done this particular style before for like a wood grain. So I'm sort of just figuring it out as we go. I'm already liking this side better, but that's just me maybe. Yeah, this side. All right, I feel like, you know, it's coming along. Hi, happy spooky season. Welcome, welcome. I'm very excited about painting spooky things right now. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you feel so inclined, if you could give this a thumbs up, that would be great, but no pressure. If you're new, my name's Bree. Hi. I do digital tutorials. This is just me painting for funsies, but I do think I'll turn this into an actual tutorial. If you're looking for some spooky stuff, I do have a tutorial on how to make these cute little pumpkins. I'm still in the middle of working on my scarecrow, but I've got some sassy got some sassy crows hanging out, and I've got a ton of other tutorials and whatnot. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for the support. I hope that my content is enjoyable and helpful to you. I've never done a skeleton before, so this has been fun. I am going to change the pumpkin a little bit, but overall I'm pretty pleased with how this is coming along. I'll definitely need to make this part a little darker. It's just not dark enough. But I try to give my eyes a rest in between different parts of the piece, so that way I can start to see if there's anything that needs adjustment, whether it's the color or placement, composition, those types of things. It's really easy to, be up close and personal to something and just not be able to see it clearly. Okay, so I have the base colors down now, of which I know it's hard to see, but of the wood frame. So let's try and grab something a little bit lighter and see what I can do with that. I feel pretty good about the two colors I have working right now. So I'm going to do a new layer and a clipping mask. And let's see, maybe I'm going to try out a couple of different styles or attempts at how to make this come to life before I settle in on anything. All right, right now I think I'm liking more of this outline sort of more than the really full color. Okay. I'm also going to take the opportunity now to do just a little bit of the, and I'll always take care of that later, but just trying to get some of the shapes more established so it looks a little bit more organic and not so rigid. And let's see. Group. Duplicate. No, it won't let me have too many of these. Okay. Now will you let me? No. Combine those. Now will you let me? Yay. Okay, flatten. I don't need this anymore then. There we go. That also means that I can And now clean up whatever I don't really need. Okay. Also, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, I'm super open. I know I'm really quiet, but you just gotta give me a topic and I can usually go. But otherwise I get really in like the flow and I forget to talk. Of the four of you here, what are, if you feel comfortable, okay, two now. What are your favorite things to paint for spooky season? Or if you don't paint or you haven't attempted it yet, what's something that you really, really want to paint or draw? I tend to like nature, but I am going to branch out into more animals and humans in 2025. I think that's an area that I can increase my strengths in. And yeah. I used to paint like characters and illustrations more. I haven't in a while, so I've been enjoying this a lot. Better at portrait. Okay. So it is something that I will be working on improving myself. But there is a really good artist. Let me look up his name. He's on YouTube. He has a thing called a portrait challenge. And it's like a 7-day portrait challenge. He does it a couple times a year. I don't know if it's coming up soon, but he taught me how to do portraits. And let me see, I might even have some of my early portraits on here. Oh, I think I took them off here. Dang it. Okay, I'll find them again one day. But he is an excellent source. I just gotta look it up real quick. Okay, so one, he's on like Instagram, he's on YouTube, but his, oh my gosh, my children. His website is paintable.cc, and his name is David Beliveau, if I'm saying that correctly. And he does, let me just look it up so I can show you. He does really, really wonderful work. he would be a great resource for you. All right, take me to his website. So here's just some examples of his stuff. So like his portrait, this is another portrait. Like he's really, really wonderful at breaking down how to get the color as well. He has a couple different strategies. He does not use Procreate, he uses Photoshop, but I had no problem following along and using Procreate versus Photoshop. I used to work in Photoshop, but now I work in Procreate. I find as long as you understand your program well and have like the basic concepts of, you know, color and where to find all the tools, you'll be good. Let me see. Go back to his main website though. Let's see if he has the... challenges. I might even sign up again for one of his challenges because I love the accountability. It's really wonderful. Here's another example of his portrait work. And again, it's printable.cc, or not printable, sorry, paintable.cc. And his name is David Belliveau, Belliveau. And just a phenomenal artist. So, can't say enough good things. I took a course from him like 5 years ago now. And it was lovely. Perfect. Sorry if I overtalked it. I'm really like I really enjoyed his course. It really taught me a lot. It gave me more confidence in my abilities, and yeah, I just think it's important we support artists. There's more than enough room for all of us here. I'm really asking for a fire to catch here between the greenery, which I might have to repaint a little bit now that I have this as the background, but between the greenery and then the wood frame, I mean, I might as well just set this whole piece on fire. Someone was like, that's a fire hazard, and I was like, you are absolutely correct on that. My bad. I'm from the United States. I'm on the East Coast. Here we go. And the lights would be catching much more here in this area because of the candlelight. So I'm just going to push it a little bit more than I did in the other areas. Thank God it's just a drawing. Can't catch fire. Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to not do too much detail down here and maybe even lighten up some of the detail, just because the light would touch this far less than it would up here and on the sides. And how long have you been painting? And do you, I'm sorry, if you could remind me, I don't know if I've asked while you've been live before with me. Are you a traditional artist or a digital artist? Okay. All right, we managed to make it around the frame, so now we can do even more specific shading. This book is really bothering me, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix that real quick. It's distracting. Clipping mask. I'm going to do this dark bluish color. That's fine. And I'm gonna make this multiply. Probably take the opacity down a touch. And just there we go. That's better. Traditional artist, and I did catch live with you only a couple days ago for the first time. Yes, I do remember you being there. Thank you. And we were talking about traditional. Can you remind me what medium you work in? I know I was talking about watercolor. Did you say you also worked in watercolor, or am I just making stuff up now? All right, here we go. And now I'm gonna go and go back over here, grab some purplish colors. Hi guys, are you still here? Watercolor markers, oil painting mostly. Ooh, love that. Do you guys still see me? Sorry, I had to I had an alarm on my phone go off. Oh, no, don't erase. And I love that you use multiple types of medium, because I think that's I think like it's a skill to be able to, you know, master like different types of medium. I love that when people are able to, you know, obviously master one craft, but um, I love that people can be multi-talented and, you know, in just different ways. And it's wonderful. Maybe just a little bit more there. I used to only be an acrylic artist. Like that was like my preferred. I hated it when I had to like try something else. But I'm really glad that I ended up branching out, or was forced to branch out, and then decided to go with it. I feel like one of the reasons why I really, really liked acrylic and struggled with other mediums was just the control factor of the medium. I liked how much I felt in control of what happened to the paint with the paint. Let's do just a little bit purple in here. Acrylics dries too fast for me. I can't blend properly. That's so true. So true. I find that now, for whatever reason, back in the day, I liked that, but I do find it infuriating now. All right. I'm going to go around now and erase any parts that I feel would help just create a little bit more shape. I had another traditional artist in here a couple of weeks ago. He worked in oil, and he said the same thing about acrylic. I did remember that being an actual frustration of mine. But for some reason, I was very insistent on using that. really vibing with the gouache and the watercolor right now. Yeah, that's so bizarre to me. So oil painting is, so it really intimidates me. Maybe I'd feel differently now, you know, like, and I'm more open and willing to try things that I'm not good at. Whereas before, I think there was like that shame element, like fear of not being able to do it well, and like, oh my God, what will people think? But I definitely think I'm open. I'm open to trying it again. Though I will say, just the idea that it's still not dry gives me anxiety. I'm like, what if I smudge it? I suppose the answer is then you just smudge it back. How long does not watercolor, oil take for you to dry? I mean, I know there's different forms of oil, right? So there's like the oil, I don't think they're crayons, but like oil type crayons. And then there's like oil paint. Which kind do you use? Do you use all of them? Which ones do you prefer? I'd love to learn. Yes, again, I'm super open. There is nothing at this point that I'm not willing to try. I don't want to limit myself. And I know that, you know, any medium that I pick up with time and practice, you know, I will learn the skill. There was a time where I really sucked at digital art. Really bad. And I'm not under exaggerating. Or over exaggerating. I'm under exaggerating, sorry. When I was in college, we were working in Photoshop, and I believe the class was called photo manipulation, but it was ironic because we didn't really do too much photo manipulation. We did more painting, but we did do some of the photo manipulation, and I failed the class 3 times because I legitimately just couldn't pick up understanding the program and how to do all the layers and blah blah blah, right? And then go figure, I ended up falling in love with it because I had to practice it so damn much to pass the class. So it was worth it in the end, because now it's one of my passions, but it's just funny. Have a good day. Thank you so much for coming to spend time with me and all of us here. Much appreciated. Oh, thank you so much. Let's see, what time is it? All right, I do have to get going in 5 minutes. I have plans this afternoon and I need to start getting ready for them. So while this isn't finished, I feel like it's made a good amount of progress today. I feel much better about the skeleton than I did. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Okay. Hi. Hello. Welcome. I don't mean to tell you, like, first let me validate your feelings. I validate your feelings. I understand it's really hard to sometimes see where you are versus where someone is, but I promise you, you can get to whatever level you want. I'm not even at the level that I want to be. We're all, you know, in the process of like learning and growing. I'm telling you, it's in the consistency, it's in the practice. Pick a topic, study the topic, do it until you're good at that topic. You know, and there's so many tutorials out there, there's so many people. When I took my first digital painting class, I just said a few moments ago, I literally failed it 3 times. 3 times. And because one, I needed to pass the class, but I was determined to not let it defeat me. I ended up falling in love with the practice of digital art, you know? So when I started, it was rough. It was really rough. And I really wanted to keep doing traditional art because I didn't feel secure in my ability to digitally paint. But I kept with it, and now it's been 15 years, and I've had lulls. I've had years where I've taken off because I was focused on other parts of my life, but you know, I promise you, practice time, you got this. I feel like this pumpkin needs a little bit of the details taken out. It's a little too distracting compared to the detail of the other pieces in the piece. So I'm gonna see what I can do by just softening up some of these lines. I'm also gonna put this on alpha lock so that way I don't accidentally smudge outside of the piece. I have taken many courses, many classes. I've taken other artists, like their online courses. I watch other artists' tutorials. You know, even though I make tutorials, I am not above like saying I don't know how to do everything, and there are still skills that I can develop and make better. I need to fix this here. And I probably, okay, I'll take off the light for now. Make sure I like the way this is looking. Okay. I really mean it. Okay, so this is the pumpkin now. I have the original pumpkin underneath, so that way we can compare so you guys can kind of... The only thing that it won't be the same is the highlight here because I did just smudge it, but just to... That was before, so lots of detail, and this is now. I think in general this matches the style better than the one I had before. I might be able to add a little bit more shading and stuff to make it a little bit more cohesive, but I feel like less detail is working better. So the darkest color I have on there is this, so I'll go down a little lower. I think it's really easy to compare ourselves to others and where they're at. And also with social media, similar to like, sometimes people portray their lives like we're just getting a snapshot of their quote unquote perfect life. And a lot of times when we're seeing people showcase their art, one, we might not even be seeing their process. We might just be seeing the final product. But then on top of it, sometimes what we're seeing, and I would say this is true for me with I'm putting out tutorials. The objective of my work is to make it easy for you guys to be able to replicate what I've made, which means I'm behind the scenes making the errors, figuring out the colors, figuring out the sketch. Those are things you don't see, because by the time I put a whole piece together and I edit it down, it's meant for the most efficient and effective way for you to replicate and learn through cutting out all the things that I went through in order to create the piece, right? So, for example, like this piece down here. This piece, when I was painting alone by myself, took about 3 or so hours, like 3.5 hours by myself, right? Without an audience. But then when I went to break it down, turn it into a tutorial and editing out unnecessary steps, editing out pauses and, trying something and then undoing it, I was able to get the tutorial down to an hour and 40 minutes, because it's about efficiency and effectiveness for you guys and not overcomplicating it and making you guys feel like, oh God, oh, we're drawing this. Oh no, we're undrawing this. So, I think sometimes we don't get a realistic view of how much an artist actually does behind the scenes to create pieces like this. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing lives like this, because I can show people like, look, I don't have it all figured out. I am, painting on the fly here, and I'm making adjustments and adaptations and coming back the next day and being like, wow, I thought that worked yesterday. It does not work actually. And that's okay. It doesn't make me a bad artist. It makes me an artist that's continuing to learn, grow, and that's just part of the process of being an artist. Is something might look fine today, and then you come back tomorrow and you're like, nope, the perspective's off, or the color's not quite right. At the time when you were painting it, it looked fine because you were staring at it for so long. You were too close to the project. You needed a break. There must be color right around here. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I do have to get going for the day. I have some plans that I need to get ready for, but I really appreciate you guys spending time with me today for talking, chatting, hanging out. I hope that you had a good time because I did. And hopefully I'll be back either later today or tomorrow. Count on tomorrow more than today though. Probably around the same time. I tend to do morning lives. I just tend to see more people, and it's honestly when my creativity is the highest. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you don't mind checking out one of my tutorials, it would really help my account grow. You can watch it on 2 times the speed, you know, in the background or something. But thank you all so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.